This is one of the rooms in my cellar. I'll just give you a pan around. There's an old range under there, but somebody bricked it up with a fireplace. The walls were originally covered in lime plaster, rendered, and at some stage in the early 1980s, I think, somebody decided it was a good idea to cement render them up to about there. So we ripped all that off in 2007 when we moved in, and I ripped the rest of the render off, and I also pulled the ceilings down because they were lath and plaster ceilings throughout. One of the reasons I did that was because I suspected, I was completely correct, that the joist ends where they meet the wall were rotten. And many of them are indeed completely rotten. I'll start now with one of the problems we've got in this cellar. These are sandstone flags. They are about 2, maybe 3 inches thick. Place is a total shithole. You can see the size of them. They're enormous things. And they're laid just flat onto the clay of Birkenhead Park, basically, and the sandstone. And I suspect, if you go and look on Google Maps, I'll insert a shot of this. If you go and look on Google Maps, there's a road called Radnor Place, which I suspect used to be a stream. Now I'll do another video about this, but if you pull one of these flags up, the clay is wet underneath, and that comes up through the flags. So it's absolutely freezing cold down here permanently, and it's damp. So what I've done in this space is put polythene, radon polythene down. Not that there's any radon, but it's just dead thick. So that covers the whole space. You can see it coming up there. Directly on top of that, I've laid 150mm PIR insulation boards. So all that's 150mm right up to the walls, right up to the corners. And then we've got moisture proof 22mm tongue and groove boards, which I have stuck together with some of this stuff. I used some of that on the ketch, and when it dries with a thin film, it's stronger than the wood. So what I'm intending to do in this space is, there's one of the first posts. That line, if you draw a line over there, up to the edge of where that is, that'll be the 2 inside perimeters of this room. And I'll move here, and down the side there'll be a tiny gap for me to get down there and see what's going on, and to provide ventilation in for this space, that space, and all the way along that back wall there. That window space, haven't figured out what I'm going to do with that yet. I've still got the frame, I've still got the sashes. The sashes are in okay nick, although they need reglazing. I may just leave that. It's completely open effectively, so there's a howling gale blowing through here now. And I'll build a room inside this one, stud partition, obviously insulated walls, the floor's sorted. I'll insulate that wall on this side, as I intend to do the same thing in this room, full of junk, unregistered crosser. So that means I won't need to insulate that side of the wall if I insulate this side. I primarily intend to turn this into a kind of a workshop, somewhere warm for me to sit and work. and I'll also convert it so that it is usable as a kitchen, because the kitchen is up there and needs work. So I could use this as a temporary kitchen while we do the top. The ceiling is now 8 foot. That's 2.4 metre. 8 foot. It's easier doing things in feet and inches in this place. That's an 8 foot, 4 inch tunnelized post, and it just fits neatly underneath the floor joists above. These floor joists are 7x2 or 7x3 in some cases. That is supporting, I think you can see it in the light, that's that piece of stone there. I'll turn the flash on. No. I'll do some still photos, but there's a piece of sandstone that's about 4 inches thick that's held up on 3 iron hoops that sit on that framework. That was the original hearthstone. And in this case, it hasn't been drilled through by a 1970s plumber, unlike the one in the front. So these floor joists are 24 feet long. They go all the way from there, single piece all the way down, single piece of wood over the top of that, all the way down there, all the way along here, over the top of that, all the way along there, and they terminate, well they do actually terminate above that rat's nest of copper pipe in there, but again all of those were knackered, so I've spliced in new pieces with, I'll show you the bolts I used. I'll take some stills of the bolt, wood screws, treated screws anyway. I've jumped up and down on it, it's not going anywhere. No, I haven't, but a structural engineer do me a design. Don't intend to either. And I'll draw a setup of those repairs in a still, take some photos on. But that's where we are with this particular room. I'm going to probably run a radiator down off these feed pipes that are doing the central heating. Yeah, I know they're not insulated. Shut up. That's where we are for now. Cheers.